Hi everyone, this is Snooks. Marriages and relationships are not easy, especially in the current climate that we live in right now.
That's why more than ever before, communication is crucial for the success of our marriages and relationships.
So do yourself a favor, go to marriedintocrazy.com.
And register for the free 5-star marriage webinar and self-audit tool.
That's marriedintocrazy.com.
So go to the website and let us be an ally for your marriage.
All right, now let's get ready for the podcast. But it was the response to my deep sigh. So you asked the question, and I did that. And so that's when the aggressiveness pretty much came about. It was your response to my body language or whatever.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engines.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point, you realized you were married into crazy.
And that's what our podcast is all about. We offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as we unpack this crazy thing called marriage.
So sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
All right, let's go.
Welcome to episode 107 of the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey. I'm Lovey.
I'm Snooks.
And we want to welcome each and every one of you to the #1 podcast for couples that married into crazy.
And we did.
Oh, we did. And you did too.
You married into crazy.
I definitely married into crazy.
Yeah, you married into compassion, real, accountability, zealousness, and yielding. Sometimes
So we cleaned it up.
It might just be cray. Sometimes I'm not so zealous.
Well, she definitely cray. And we got it on. Okay, so it's taped now.
It might be.
No, you said, I'll take that as a definite. So welcome back. And we want to, how are you guys doing out there? How are you doing? In this COVID season, how kids going back to school?
It's a kind of a weird time for COVID.
I've seen more people on social media lamenting over the fact that their kids are going absolutely nuts with this distance learning. Didn't matter if they were in elementary school, they're in high school. You think about all those kids that are taking AP or, college level courses that from a distance and still trying to maintain all this mess with school and checking in. And I know our daughter got marked absent a number of times because Zoom wasn't working.
Yeah, our internet. But you know what? I feel sorry for the kindergartners.
Oh.
I mean, it's like first taste of school and you're learning. How do you distance learn kindergarten? I couldn't imagine. And then also it's like the parents, it's not like with Kiki, she can be home by herself. You have to have a parent at home or someone has to be at home with these kids that are doing kindergarten at home.
And then on top of that, you got somebody on the screen saying, "Okay, kids, it's nap time."
I know, right?
No, I want to use the screen to play a game. So it's kind of funny, all these things that are going on. But update for us, 75 Hard, going strong.
Ooh, we are in, what day?
It's day 44.
Ooh, thank you, Jesus. We got 31 more days left.
I'm going to double check that just to make sure.
I don't know. I was getting ready to say, I'm not sure.
It's either 43 or 44.
Our last day, I just know our last day is October 24. It's a Friday?
It is day 44.
Or Saturday, one of those two. But it's October 24 is our last day. And I can't tell you how happy I am about it.
She can see the finish line or the promised land, and she's running hard right now.
I'm doing something.
But we're out there playing pickleball. So you got to do 2 exercises, right? You got to do 2 workouts, one indoors, one outdoors. And recently, our outdoors, we've traded in tennis for pickleball.
Yeah, pickleball is actually very fun. And I feel like I get a better workout probably because I can hit the ball better with the pickleball than I can with the tennis racket. But it's a lot of fun. I actually enjoy it. So thanks, Gizmo.
Yep, Gizmo. So there's a professional player on the circuit, but believe it or not, there is a professional pickleball circuit. And Gizmo, Mr. Jay Hall, better known as Gizmo, is a professional player, and we've become friends over the course of the last several months. And he's doing a lot in the way of educating a lot of communities, kids mostly, going to school. Well, he was going to schools and running clinics and all of that, just really trying to elevate and raise awareness about pickleball. And Gizmo, we were talking one day and he offered to send some paddles out. And I was like, yeah, we'll try that thing, because trying to get our kids involved, our daughters, and get out there and play. And Snooks and I, at first she was like, yeah, I don't know. But it's been so much fun.
Yeah, I was kind of like, and then when I saw the paddles, I was like, you're going to hit with this is a ping pong kind of paddle. It looks like it's bigger than ping pong though, right?
It's bigger than a ping pong. Kind of think of it this way. It's a cross between tennis and table tennis or ping pong.
Which is ping pong.
And using a wiffle ball. So you're basically using something like a wiffle ball, but you're using like a little bit larger ping pong ball or table tennis paddles, but you're playing on something that's similar to a tennis court, and it's a blast.
It's a lot of fun. I won't say the only thing I don't like about it, I don't like that the balls get so dirty so quickly. So you should see me out there trying to pick the ball up, put my finger through the little hole so I don't get the stuff on my hand, and then smacking the ball down.
Well, that says more about our tennis courts being dirty than it does about pickleball.
Well, I'm just saying, I just don't like that.
It's because, hey, Snooks does not like the outdoors.
I've been outdoors every day for 41 days.
44.
Ooh, what am I saying? Cutting myself short. 44 days. Well, 43, because today will be 44. For going out to exercise.
So that's where we are. So it's funny, though, that we bring up pickleball. So yours truly, your boy had a major meltdown.
Oh, wait. We got to talk about...
We're on the subject of pickleball, so can we continue on pickleball?
Okay, go ahead.
So pickleball. So anyway, we're on the court on Saturday, and we're playing, and... You know me, I'm one of those people, I offer advice. I offer, like little things that I think will help people out. I'm a giving soul. And so I thought
that's what we're going to call it. Okay.
That's what we're going to call it.
Sit back and listen.
So then I offered up some tips on how Snooks could improve her grip on her paddle. Now, if you're asking yourself, did she ask for help? The answer to that would be no. She did not ask for help. And what proceeded to happen was World War III.
Not really. I thought I was very good.
Okay, look. So she's asking all these little questions like, did I ask you? Was I doing something wrong? You know how people ask questions, but it starts to digging you a little bit more. So all it did was make me more and more angry. So I was like, I don't even want to play no more.
That's not even how it happened. That we didn't get to that point because I didn't just off the bat say, did I ask you? So Lovey was like, oh my gosh, big baby man was like, when you hold the ball, when you hold your racket, do you hold it like when you swing? That's what you said. When you swing, are you swinging like this or do you swing like that? And I just looked at him and I was like, I just swing. Well, because I think that if you hold it this way or you swing this way, and so I proceeded to go just like that, deep sigh.
For those of you on YouTube, you saw the look.
And then he got upset. What is it? Why are you getting so upset? I said, I'm not getting upset. He's like, all I'm trying to do is tell you how a good way to blah, blah, blah. And I'm trying to encourage you and I'm trying to give you tips. And I'm like, did we not just learn this game together? Have you known how to play all this time? I said, did I not get the ball over the net in the spot where I'm supposed to get it? So the issue was, I think, is that I got it in this, in the square where it's supposed to be, but I didn't get it to him. So I don't think, Lovey, because you already said earlier that you didn't really feel like running and whatever. So we were kind of just trying to.
Right. We're gonna play the
game.
We're trying to volley. I don't want to run.
We were trying to just volley, but I hit it over, and got it to at least, if we were keeping score, it would have been my point. But he was just so mad. And I was like, he's all, fine, I just don't want to play no more. And I was like, okay, we don't have to play. Let's go home. Because I'm not finna argue with you. I don't even understand.
It wasn't even about, it was not about you hitting the ball. It was about when I was trying. You were badgering on.
I was not badgering.
On why I was offering it to you. So I
No.
just thought,
No. I
think
wasn't
the kids would side
badgering.
with me.
I was not badgering you. You got upset, and then I said, "But did I ask you for help? Did I ask you? Your advice is unsolicited. I didn't ask." I was like, so basically what you're doing is you're playing, but you're watching me and you're scrutinizing what I'm doing or how I'm holding the paddle for you to always have something to say about you could do it this way better or you should do it that way better.
Always? That was my first time.
That day.
Oh.
Okay.
So welcome to our life.
Hold on. Let's talk about tennis. You did the same thing in tennis.
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
What did I do in tennis?
Oh my goodness. You talk about the way I hold the racket. He was like, "Oh, so are you trying to hit it like are you?" I was like, "Oh, okay. I see you. I let it go."
Oh, no.
I let it go.
When
And
I
I
asked
let
that,
it go.
You were complaining. She was complaining about her wrist hurting. Were you or were you not?
Not that day.
Oh, no.
You're gonna say, "Oh."
So she was complaining about her wrist hurting. So because her wrist was hurting, I inquired about how she was holding the racket.
No, that was not the time that you inquired
Yes, it was.
about
It's
how
my
I was
story,
holding the
and I'm
racket.
sticking to it.
When he says that, he knows he's wrong.
She lie. She lie.
So anyway,
Anyway, so we're going to come back to this.
So he
it was
acted
poor
ugly.
communication. Actually, it was good
he-
communication. It was just unwanted communication.
no, Lovey.
But we're gonna talk about
he
communication
was very
here in just a
aggressive
second.
in his communication. I was like, "Ooh, you're not finna act
I
like
was
that
assertive
on the court."
with my communication.
Anyway,
So, but real quickly, we want to do a spotlight on a business. So we have a listener, one of our listeners, who hails from New York, Ruthie
Lovey loves to
Chisholm.
say that. Yes, Ruthie Chisholm. And Ruthie is I said this earlier. I will always say this about Ruthie. Ruthie was the very first person that actually, outside of our family, outside of people who we told, "Hey, listen to our podcast and tell us what you think." Ruthie was the very first organic I should say, review that we received. And she was
lied,
like,
but she said family. Our friends listened.
no,
Our family did not.
Oh, okay. No, sis listens.
Oh, true.
Okay, see, look at, I corrected him, girl. Anyway, so she sent this email. I remember we were at
she gonna go into detail
volleyball
now.
game, whatever, and the lights were out. Remember the power was out,
Mm-hmm.
and so we're sitting there, we're waiting. The girls are on the court, whatever, and so Lovey's like, "Oh, we got this email," and I was like, "Okay," and so he proceeded to read the email. And she was it was very encouraging, and it was very timely also. So, and it made me tear up. So Ruthie, thank you. You'll always top honors, girl. Anyway, Ruthie wrote a book, and it's called Sister Knit, and it's on Amazon, and the reviews are great. Fire reviews, all 5 stars. Please look at this illustration. Look at these colors popping, very vibrant. Sister Knit by R.L. Chisholm. Go get the book. Support her. I can't wait to read it. Like I said, the reviews are great.
No, it's about something to do with women during the Obama.
Well, not just. Well, it's about. It's a knitting group, basically, and it's during the Obama era.
So I'm sure there's a tie in there. So, well, Snooks is going to chime in from time to time as she's reading the book and let us know how it's going. And she's not going to give anything away, so there won't be any spoilers. But I expect a report on.
So
I want
hopefully-
a book report.
Okay, whatever.
Anyway, hey, so definitely go out there, go on Amazon and check out the book Sister Knit. That's Sistaah Knit, Knit.
By R.L. Chisholm.
Look it up.
Very beautiful.
And if you're compelled, and we're asking you to, go out and support a local author. Somebody, when I say local, I mean, somebody that's grassroots, that is growing up. So anyway, we're going to kind of jump over to the topic of the day, which is communication. Let's take it back to the pickleball court.
To when Lovey was acting ugly. But also it's funny that happened because last week we got an email also. And so I was like, "Oh, all the men just acting up right now." So I don't know. So I'm going to read this email. It says, "Snooks and Lovey, my girlfriend said I was too aggressive when I talk. In fact, we got into a disagreement about it. I don't feel like I'm aggressive. I just, I'm just matter of fact, point blank, period. I told her, if anything, she's too passive and more on the sensitive side. I've heard you talk about your personality tests and how they are different. Do you have this type of conflict? If so, how do you resolve it?
Yes, we do have conflict. Even with,
As stated on the podcast. No.
even with the assessment, the personality test you're talking about is the DISC assessment. And DISC is, DISC. And each one of those talks about a specific behavioral trait or a preference or a tendency that we all have. No one individual is just one of those traits. We're a blend of all of these specific traits. I like to call them like the pilot, the flight attendant, the ground crew, and the air traffic controller, because each of those personality types or those caricatures or people that you can think of, each exhibit a certain trait. And so like me, I'm considered more of a pilot, somebody that, likes just, I get in the plane, I fly from point A to point B. I'm not going to sit here and chit chat with you. Flight attendant is that person that goes up and down the aisle, talking to everybody, making sure everybody's, having a good time and, just super chatty.
Super chatty. I'm a high S, high C
ground crew,
and air traffic controller.
So what are some of the traits for a ground crew?
Ground crew's off supportive. It's about pace, how you do things, the way they support others,
Right. Just like with your luggage and all that.
Okay. You just cut me off.
I'm sorry.
And then the air traffic controller, they tell you where to go or how to get to your destination. So I'm about a lot of policy, procedure, I'm not very, I won't say I'm very talkative. I'm cool in my lane, stand by myself. So.
Right. And so all those different things that you have make up the DISC. So that's that personality test that you're talking about. But even knowing all that and even coaching individuals, we have clients that we work with, that we help them by identifying those, and it helps them kind of put the puzzle pieces together to learn how to communicate all that much better. But here's the humaneness or the humanity of us. Even in knowing that, we still have some quirks every now and then, like my little meltdown on the pickleball court. That's like the economics teacher that's at college level teaching economics and teaching people how to make money, but they're driving a rusted out 1978 Volvo. And you wonder, how is this person going to teach me how to make money when he's driving a rusted Volvo? Well, it's funny. I'm just using it as an example, but everybody has room to grow. Mm-hmm. And I can honestly say that I was in the wrong on Saturday. And I'm sure Snooks is about to tell me. Just a second ago, I had said that you said I had aggressive communication. I felt like I was being assertive in the moment.
Okay, so it's good that you say that, because when you talk about communication, the communication styles, there are 4, basically. There's passive aggressive, and assertive. So I think what happens is maybe because of your pilot, you're just, I want to get it out. This is how it is. This is how, you unsolicited advice to me.
Okay.
No, but I'm just saying it felt aggressive because of the way that pretty much it wasn't the question, but it was the response to my deep sigh. So you asked the question and I did that. And so that's when the aggressiveness pretty much came about. It was your response to my body language or whatever. It's like you didn't appreciate what I was saying, or my lack of wanting your advice or something like that. I don't know.
In 25 years of us being together and almost 24 years of marriage, I know that deep sigh.
It means
and so that's a trigger. That's one of my triggers.
Whatever. So anyway, I just want to talk a little bit about, if I can, like just like I said, the different communication styles. So, and he mentioned that his girlfriend, he felt that she was passive. So I want to just talk a little bit, let's touch on what passive is. So passive is not really expressing your feelings or your needs or your ideas. You're like allowing others to step on your rights, to be heard, and they're choosing for you. When there is passive communication. So an example of that is like, oh, I'm sorry I made you mad. I'll do whatever it is that you want. So you're not able to do what it is that you want. You're letting others do it for you. So whatever, if there was an issue, the issue would not have been solved. They don't solve the problem, and it's like lacking understanding. One thing about passive communication, it can lead to passive aggressive communication, where you're not really being honest about how you feel. I mean, you're not honest. Maybe you're honest with when you're passive. You're just like, okay, whatever. But it can lead to a passive aggressive communication, which is dishonesty, because you're not being truthful, So that's like saying, oh, it's in I feel like it's a little bit of a manipulation too.
Okay.
Like,
gotcha. That makes sense.
Okay, well, that's okay if you don't come over here and see me. I'll just be here all by myself. So it's
okay.
kind of manipulative, but it also brings out negative emotions. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just listening. That's good.
Oh, okay. So then there's aggressive communications. You express your feelings at the expense of others. So when
you said that with such fervor that you made it sound like that's what I did on Saturday.
Well, I mean, like I said, the reaction of it is like, why you, like you kind of went ham on me, got a little bit loud or whatever. I mean, we weren't making a scene, but I know when my spouse gets upset and I'm just like, are you serious right now? So, but one thing that you don't do, but what can happen with aggressive communication is like, an example of that is an attack on another person. Like, oh my God, you're so stupid. You did that wrong again, instead of being like, hey, let's talk about what went wrong.
You might want to hold your paddle this way.
So it's like you're trying to, you can embarrass someone. It can be humiliating. It can also be bullying, to a certain extent. And it's about power and control. And when and I'm just going to say this part, it's like when you were like, well, it wasn't that you were trying to get me to hold it a certain way, but when I didn't want to do what you wanted me to do, then it's like you were upset because I wasn't taking your lead. You know what I mean?
Because I was right.
You weren't right, but whatever. And so for assertive, there's assertive communication. So assertive is, you just meet the situation head on. I kind of felt like I was assertive that day on Saturday because I met it head on. It was, we dealt with the conflict. You're like, I just won't play. We're not going to play. And I'm just like, okay, then fine. We just won't play, So it's like me saying, and I think I said, I didn't say it, but the action's like, I don't like how you're talking to me. So we need to talk about that. But instead of me saying, I don't like how you're talking to me, I just was like, okay, we'll just go then, kind of, because it was kind of like you were kind of feeling some kind of way about being out there. Remember, you kind of were like, I don't know if I really want to be, and maybe that had something to do with it too.
It was a little bit. I don't even know if I want to be across the net from you right now.
There was a lot of that. So, but with assertive communication, you deal with conflicts sternly. You're honest and you're direct and you're clear and you're okay, it's understandable. You can understand exactly what it is that I'm saying. I'm attacking the issue. I was not attacking the person.
I felt attacked.
You felt like you were being a baby. That's what you're being a big old baby. So, I mean, those are just different, just kind of a breakdown of the different ways of communicating. So if your girlfriend feels like you're being too aggressive, and sometimes when we're aggressive, you get loud and it's demanding, and your body language you're rigid and you're stern. Your hands might be on your hips. You might have your fist balled up. You might be pointing your finger or something like that. With passive communication, your voice is kind of weak. Okay, very soft, more like you won't really typically look at the person. Your posture is like you're not standing straight up. You're more stooped over, and you'd probably tend to fidget some. Assertive, you're pretty firm. I'm relaxed, but I'm just not going, I'm looking at you. We're having eye contact. I'm standing straight up, but I'm relaxed. I'm not, boring holes into your head when, like as an aggressive behavior, you're not just looking, you're staring at them. It's like you're trying to exert your will in a sense, and you're loud and, so.
That's good. No, I like all that. I mean, and I will say that based on your definitions, I was definitely aggressive. I was not assertive.
Yeah.
And I
Thank
was
you.
wrong. And I've admitted as much.
Well, I mean, it's not about, oh, Lovey, you did, one thing too, I think that is important is that, we found the victory in being able to move on. Like I said, I know that I already knew you kind of had some, when you don't want to do something wholeheartedly, you're just like, oh, I'm out here because I got to be out here. And then when the situation doesn't go
you
the
didn't
way
do
that
what I
you
told
want.
you to do.
So I knew, I was like, okay, that's not you. It's like you're not that guy who's just like a big bully, and I call you a man baby, but
I was a big old baby Huey.
yeah.
But so that and it's funny. So there's different ways to communicate. There's with your words, of course, and expressing yourself. There's body language. I mean, I'm just curious. What did my body language look like?
you're
Did it match my aggressiveness?
you were stiff, but you were like moving your hands and like, are you serious right now? Kind of.
Super animated.
You weren't like it wasn't embarrassing. If people didn't know who, it wasn't like we were like super loud and people were like, oh my God, look at them, But I mean, I was just like, are you serious right now? That's how I was. So, but back to the email, so these are some things to think about ask yourself when you're talking to your girlfriend. How loud are you? What is your body stance? Are you, pointing your finger? Are you demeaning her in a sense or in a way? Are you saying things that attack her character or her person, I should say? If she does something wrong or she doesn't agree with what you're saying, are you, oh my God, you're so dumb because blah, 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 whatever. And it's more of that than it is like, oh, okay, well, I see what you're saying, well, I don't agree with it, but it's
You still need to have rules of engagement. So
always.
even when we're talking about different ways to communicate, so let's talk about rules of engagement. It's so ingrained in us now that even though I was angry, right or wrong, there was no right. It was definitely wrong, but wasn't calling her out her name. I was saying you're stupid for, not listening to me or
he was thinking it. No, probably no.
I got mind control. But,
okay, Smokey.
But it's one of those things where there's rules of engagement. There's just some things that you just don't do. And if you start to engage or ensure that you practice those rules of engagement often, then you'll know that it becomes that much easier for you to ensure that you never have to, I guess, think about it. It becomes second nature to where it's just your normal way of actually engaging with each other. It's not like you have to really try so hard not to call her out her name or not to raise your voice or not to act, take an aggressive posture. The more you practice, like, okay, these things are off the table. I just got to make sure I never do that. Whether it's part of who you are or what you've been used to or what you've grown up around, I think that helps. But there's different ways that you should be communicating. I mean, I think we should be mindful of the words we use, the manner in which we use them, like our body language. To me personally, like what are the different ways of communication? You said there's three.
There's talking, there's listening, and there's also body language.
See, and I think that there's a fourth, but that's not what we're going to talk about tonight. I think the fourth is in texting, in social engagement. I think that there's a new one. I don't know how new it would really be, but I think that's up for consideration as well. Is that
that's true?
Because there's a whole generation now that their major form of communication is via text, and so much is lost in translation because there is no body language with texting. There's no true voice. Because unless you use like caps or whatever, all caps, that means you're yelling.
Why are you yelling at me?
But I think a lot of times, even if but now a lot of people just use all lowercase just because they're lazy and don't want to actually make it capital.
Well, I actually know someone who just uses all caps. That way she doesn't have to toggle back and forth. Everything is all caps. I called her one day. I was at work and I was like, why are you angry? She's like, what are you talking about? I said, you sent me this email and all caps, and she started laughing. She's like, no, I just use all caps because I just don't want to have to toggle back and forth. It's just easier. It's quicker. So, it's not, she didn't think about the way that the perception. She just thought about getting her message across. And that's another form of a thing with communication too. You're not thinking about the perception or how the information is being received. You're just thinking about, I just need to say this.
Right.
So.
Well, no, and I think that's there. I mean, that's there, meaning that's another form of communication that we should take into consideration, because so many people are texting now.
Mm-hmm. And then also, and okay, so let me just say this too, just talking about being passive part. So last week I had my certification, and Mustafa said something that it stuck out with me.
Certification for what?
Oh, for extreme execution.
I don't know. You got certified. You're asking it. Was that with a question mark at the end?
I said extreme execution.
Sound like a question mark to me.
Anyway, see, you're bullying me. You're bullying me right now. You're bullying me.
She is a certified extreme execution coach.
Yes, I am.
She's a life coach now, certified, and certified Intermetrics consultant as well. So congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
So anyway, so you were talking with Mustafa.
Thank you, kind sir. So, but Mustafa said something about being passive. And what he said it just kind of resonated with me. He said, when you think about being a passive person, is suffering in silence. I never thought about being passive that way, but it fits so perfectly because you give up your rights. You're not expressing your feelings or your needs or ideas. You allow other people to step on you, and everyone, when they so passive. So just remember, my guy, I don't know, I didn't say your name, but just remember when you say, oh, she's passive and she's sensitive. Okay, so remember just that phrase, suffering in silence. Maybe, you need to rethink how we look at being passive. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, I've never heard that phrase before. But
no, because it gives it a new meaning for me. It's not so, like I said earlier, being passive could lead to passive aggressiveness, because it will lead to, hurtful feelings. And then you can build up a resentment, and you just go through. Because I remember I said that to Ashanti once. I was like, you know what? Don't be so passive aggressive. Oh, she hit the roof. I am not passive aggressive, Mom. And why would you say that? And blah, blah, blah. I was like, because the way that you're acting, But I was like, okay. Now, so that part came back to me when I was like, okay, she's suffering in silence. But sometimes if you don't know how to give your voice, you will become passive aggressive, because in your mind, I'm angry now. I'm resentful. I don't like being treated this way. I don't like, because it's not always the manipulative part where, all right, you don't have to come. I'll just stay here all by myself. It's not always that. It's the other part is like, all right, well, I guess so, but it's not just in saying, I guess so. It's the attitude and the feeling of, all right, I guess so. You know what I mean?
I do. And I'm not trying to take away or make light of that, but I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, I feel like you're kind of passive aggressive when it comes to
being passive aggressive.
No, when I ask, what do you want to eat? All of you, I'm like, oh, what do you guys want to eat? Oh, well, whatever you want to eat, you just pick something. Well, I don't want that. Okay, well, all right, whatever. If that's what you want. I'm like, well, okay, well, what do you want to eat? I don't know. You pick. I mean, is that passive aggressive?
No, I think that's indecisiveness, because being passive aggressive is like, I'm being dishonest with my feelings. I'm saying, oh, it's okay, I'll just be here, blah, blah, blah. But when I say I don't care, I really don't care. Or if I don't know, I don't know. And even if you make a suggestion, okay, well, why don't we have this? Well, I didn't know what I wanted, but I know I don't want that. So I don't look at it as I'm being passive aggressive when we can't agree on what to eat.
Gotcha.
I mean, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, no, I do. I was just curious. I was like, because it just kind of like, it seemed like there was a common thread there.
Yeah, you see, Lovey gets upset when we don't know what we want to eat. Even though he doesn't know what he wants to eat, we have to make the decision. Just saying.
I'll eat something, but then they're all like, well, I don't want that. So I ask and I try and go along. I can eat anything, anywhere, anytime.
That's not true, but okay.
Anything else you want to talk about communication? Seeing as how I'm punching back today.
No, I'm just. Are you serious?
I was trying to be passive aggressive.
You're just being passive. Yeah, you are being passive aggressive. No, I think that. Well, I mean, what do you have to say about it?
Well, I think it's something that is constantly under construction. There is no, I'm the best communicator in the entire world, and this is the way it's always going to be. I think that regardless of how well you communicate with each other, and regardless of what history you have of being a great communicator or having great communication, that we're still human. And there's going to be moments, whether you're hangry or you're angry or you're having a bad day or what have you, there's always going to be something, a variable that can be introduced that's going to affect the way that you communicate. And we have to recognize that just because I've got 23 and a half years of phenomenal communication doesn't negate, the pickleball court when they have horrible communication or you're being overly aggressive. It's like, you should just step over that. Don't think about it or I should get a pass. Not really. It's one of those things that it's just like when we talk about when you put a hole in the fence. If you sit there and you have a fence that's been constructed and you hammer in, get a nail and you hammer all these nails in the fence. It looks like, and think of that as poor communication. And then you say, you know what, that was bad. You know what, I was passive aggressive. I'm sorry, babe, on the pickleball court. I lost it and I shouldn't have and blah, blah, blah. Then you go and you pull the nail out of the fence. The damage was done because there's still a hole in that fence. And if you do it enough, you're going to have a very holy fence where you can see directly through it because there's so many holes. And we have to be, I think, cognizant or aware.
Very mindful.
Yeah, be very mindful of not putting a hole in the fence to begin with. And so we have to get better at recognizing when our energy is off, when we are in a bad mood or something is just off kilter. Sometimes all it really takes, and I wish I would have done this, knowing that I was just a little off for whatever reason that day, I probably should have just said, Snooks, you know what? I'm feeling some kind of way. I don't know why. I can't put a name to it. I don't understand what's going on. But I feel off. So that way, when we went out there and I acted a fool, she would have been like, okay, hold on. You said you were a little off. What's going on? And that might have been enough for me to be like, you know what? My bad. I'm so sorry. But instead, I was like, you better hold your racket the way I told you to hold that racket.
Well, I think too, and that's the good thing about being in a relationship where you can be honest with your partner and know your partner and trust your partner. I know you're not just mean to be mean. You're not that guy I'm just going to be mean for the sake of being mean. I'm going to exert my will and you better do what I say and that kind of, you're not that guy. So automatically, that's why I'm like, I'm not even going to argue with you when you say, well, I just don't want to. I'm like, okay, well, we can just go home then. Because I knew at that point, I do remember you were like, oh, kind of funky a little, but I just, well, he'll play it off, because times when I get out there, I'm like, initially I'm not real into it, but then I get into it. But when that happened, I was like, okay, we could just leave. But the good thing about us is that I knew something was wrong. That's why I'm not going to argue with you. And, I did say, did I ask you?
You said it just like that too. No, go ahead.
But I know you well enough to know, okay, you're just feeling some kind of way. So we were able to move on. There are so many couples that incident could have grown into something very big.
True. And
we would still be mad at each other, or it would have led to, and that's why, and you even blah, blah, blah. And it would have just been, it can be an add-on and an add-on and an add-on. So recognize when we all know ourselves and we need to recognize, okay, I'm off. Okay, let me stop. I'm in my own head. I'm tripping right now. And I can convey and be able, you want to have that trust with your partner to be able to convey that, babe, it's a bad one. So if I act fool, charge it to my head, not my heart, or whatever, or charge it to the neighbor. I don't know, whatever. But we're in that space where, and I'm thankful for it, that we are able to move on and move past and still love and still, because that was probably the best pickleball match we had. Because I was like, I'd be dag nabbit if I lose today. You're not finna have me out here being mad and I'm going to lose.
She was working it too. She had me
I was
running all
like,
over the court.
and I don't know, sometimes we play tennis. I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for Serena to show up. I don't know a pickleball player that I can like, okay, Gizmo, you come in, you get him. I was in my head.
You were Serena that day, that's for sure. But it's one of those things where, we talk about crazy, right? And it's in those moments where you have to be crazy.
That's so funny you say that, because I was going to say, you want to say what you mean to say. You say what you need to say, but always say it and exercise compassion. You want to be real. You still have to have accountability. Don't lose the zealousness, but also be able to be yielding, and all that stands for crazy. A lot of times we're nipping at the bit because I'm not really listening to you. I see your mouth moving, but I got some points I need to say in my head and I need to get them out. So I'm tuning you out so I don't forget what my points are. Some of us communicate like that. Nothing gets resolved when that happens.
It's funny because if you would have been a spectator watching us on pickleball court, after the little blow up in the very beginning, there was not a word said between us.
We did not talk at all.
But
for 30 minutes,
for 30 minutes, we just sat there and just played. For 30 minutes,
we just played.
And by the time we got in the car, it was good. Mm-hmm. We were all right.
Yeah.
So your boy messed up. Yeah, she over the time about, he mad. But
no.
It all worked out. But, it's under construction. That's every couple. You're going to have these ups and these downs. But stay committed to working through it.
And that's the thing, too, I feel like about this podcast is that, we started this podcast because we want to touch millions of couples. And it doesn't matter where you are in your relationship. You can always get to phenomenal. You just have to do the work, You just stay crazy. Even those who've been married 35 years, stay crazy. Don't get complacent. Don't let the C for compassion move to complacent. Stay crazy. And, with us we're very, very transparent on our podcast, and we talk about our shortcomings and the mistakes that we've made. And, there's still a whole bunch that we haven't covered, but we've made those errors. And I feel like, what the Bible says, the Lord won't give you more than you can handle. He knows what he knew. We had a huge calling on our marriage. Even when I was trying to tear it down or not tear it down, trying to break it up, I wanted to leave. And the Lord was like, no, because he had an assignment for us. I didn't know that back then, but that's a good thing about being this podcast, just being very transparent. Because we've even gotten some testimonies or emails from...
And we'll read that next time.
Yeah, because we were able to be open and share something, someone else felt compelled to do the same. So that's what this is about.
Nope, I agree. So with that said, what we're going to do at this point is kind of shut it down and move to our I Can, do the 2 for the road. And this is the part in our podcast where we actually pull from the I Can and we figure out... our I Can statement for couples. Mm-hmm. And this is something that we can focus on for the remainder of the week.
Oh, I almost pulled one for you.
She pulled one for me too. I get to pull my own. Thank you very much. I was passive aggressive. This is what you're going to do.
That's so funny. Okay, mine says I can learn something new about my partner. Get mad on the pickleball court.
And mine says I can express my appreciation to my partner when she does what I tell her to do. No, but it says I can express my appreciation to my partner.
Okay.
So at some point this week, I'm going to express my appreciation.
I won't hold my breath. No, I'm just kidding.
I appreciate you.
No. Lovey's very good at that. He just, especially when I'm feeling down, he's like, I don't know why you're tripping. You do blah, blah, blah. And I need it.
So we thank each and every one of you for participating in the conversation this week. Mm-hmm. We look forward to it. Every single time. So be sure to check out if you order this in the audio, great. If you want to watch the video, please go to YouTube, watch the video, go ahead and give a subscribe to our YouTube channel. But then also there's going to be a lot of major upgrades when it comes to YouTube. We're in the process of working with some consultants to figure this thing out and make it better and more, palatable, if you will, to see and watch and listen. But also be sure to go over to Apple Podcasts, go ahead and refer a friend. share the podcast with friends. Please share it out there so we can grow the audience and continue to kind of expand the conversation to those individuals that also need to, be in the proximity of other couples that are trying to build up their relationships.
Right.
So until the next time, be blessed.
Bye-bye.